Welcome to The Read Along,
a mini book club for your ears.
I'm your host, Scott.
I'm your other host, Anita.
And join us on a journey through a good book,
one chapter at a time.
Do you like talking about movies? Do you like talking about mediocre movies? Do you like talking about how you could have fixed mediocre movies? Well, I certainly do, and you can listen to me, Scott C. Bourgeois, along with my co-hosts Greg Beaver and Liam Creswick, as we give our notes, and I have some notes. You can follow it now on your podcatcher of choice or support it by visiting patreon.com/IHaveSomeNotes. We just celebrated a 5th birthday.
Yes, our daughter turned 5.
And we had a princess party.
So many princesses.
Including a princess.
Including a princess. We invited Princess Elsa to our daughter's party, and to our surprise, she came.
Well, not to my surprise.
That's true.
I knew that was happening.
You did the inviting.
Yeah.
As it were.
But we arranged for Princess Elsa to be at the party, and it was a big surprise to our daughter, who then tried to monopolize the princess's attention and time.
She tried to sequester her away so she could play with Princess Elsa just to herself. It was very cute.
We managed to finally coax her into letting all of the other guests at the at the birthday party have a little bit of story time and fun time with the princess as well.
Playtime and story time and fun time.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
She seems very happy. That's the important thing.
There was a lot of princessing.
Yes.
Over our weekend, my goodness.
And she seemed to have a good time. So overall, a successful 5th birthday.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. They made a huge mess. There was a lot of sugar consumed. I would call that a success.
Indeed. So a bit of a busy weekend. We both were pretty tired coming out of it, but we did make time, as always, to read a chapter of a book. That's the beauty of only having to read a chapter.
Yeah.
Before
it doesn't take very long.
And this was a particularly short chapter, actually.
Yeah, it was, 5-6 pages?
Yeah, not too long.
Yeah.
So easy to bang that out, and somehow Nita still managed to come up with 2 pages of notes.
So many notes.
So I guess we should probably dive in. We'll start with a brief recap of our previous chapter, Chapter 3, in which Dani takes a road trip back home.
Quote-unquote home.
Kind of expecting the rug to be pulled out from under her the whole time, and so is jumpy when somebody's in the house when she gets there, and has a brief standoff with Rose, who's kind of like the custodian of this mysterious art collection.
Yeah.
And gets kind of the initial report on what her job is going to be like as the new chief of security and who she's going to be reporting for, but also decides she needs to start getting her crew together. And so when Rose leaves, she makes plans to go and seek out Rabbit, and that is what she is doing as we move into Chapter 4 of The Frame Up by Gwenda Bond. We begin this chapter with Dani kind of en route to Rabbit's rural home.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's back up just half a step. The countdown continues. We are now 8 days out.
Yeah, because it was pretty late last night. So Dani is going to visit Rabbit the next day.
Yes. Best to catch Rabbit early in the morning.
Yeah, Rabbit was lauded as the tech expert of the group and weirdly lives a very rural life. For someone who apparently just has magical rapport with technology. Mostly seems to be living out on a farm, surrounded by animals, kind of a low-tech sort of life. Kind of surprised me.
Well,
we haven't seen inside the house. Could be different in there.
We don't know the nature of her magic. If she can, quote-unquote, commune with electronics. Maybe she lives out in the country so she can have some peace and quiet.
That's possible as well. It is actually an angle I had considered.
Yeah.
Rather than be surrounded by the thing that she can magically commune with all the time.
That was sort of my assumption. This is on purpose to keep her away from all of it.
Yeah, we start to learn a little bit about Rabbit, too. Apparently, Rabbit is big on taking in strays. And in this case, strays means both animals and people.
And people, yeah.
People who've fledged into their magic power and are kind of I
don't know where to go. What do I do with this? Wah!
And apparently, Elliot, whom Dani has a past with, is one such stray who's still there, though we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
We are getting way ahead of ourselves. Let's back it up.
Dani basically is making the trip out and has trepidation the whole way. And when she arrives, she discovers that Rabbit's not there, but Mia is. And Mia used to be Dani's best friend.
Okay, so let's form all of our little triangles here so we understand our relationship tree.
Yeah, Rabbit and Maria, Dani's mom, were like sisters.
Yeah.
Essentially inseparable. They were thick as thieves. They were each other's like closest confidants.
Yeah, they were the besties.
Yeah. So naturally, Dani and Mia,
so Mia is Rabbit's daughter,
and Dani being Maria's daughter, grew up like sisters.
Yeah, also super besties.
Yes. Elliot is one of the strays who Rabbit took in at some point.
Yes.
And kind of is roughly the same age, and the three of them kind of grew up together.
Exactly. And then Elliot and Dani were in a relationship.
Yeah, apparently there was something romantic going on there. And Dani still has feelings
deep
which
down.
may be unrequited.
Yes.
At this point. Hard to say.
We don't know because Elliot didn't say anything.
Wasn't able to say anything. He got one word out before he was shut up by Rabbit and told to go inside.
Yes. And he basically did as he was told.
Which is
he didn't have to, like, I'm under the impression that he is very much an adult.
Yeah.
Himself, right? You sort of respect the woman who's putting a roof over your head.
Yeah.
And or maybe he genuinely did not want to see Dani. Maybe
Hard
it's
to say.
too soon. We don't know.
Well, and Dani even says, like, based on the little bit we know about his power, he should know that she was in town. And the fact that he didn't make any effort to communicate with her.
The silence says a lot.
The silence says a lot. Though you could read between the lines here and suggest that maybe Rabbit is telling him not to say anything.
Maybe, but who knows?
She seems to have some pull over him.
Again, we don't know enough yet.
That could be because she's the woman putting a roof over his head. Mia also doesn't have any magical powers, we learn.
Yes.
She is normal, quote unquote.
Yeah. And Dani's like, oh, lucky.
And yeah, the way Dani kind of frames it is, and again, this could just be from her perspective, because as far as she's always known, magic people are criminals. But she has this impression like Mia could have had a normal life outside of this shadowy underworld that we live in.
This magical, shadowy world of crime.
And the fact that she didn't kind of makes her angry. Like, she has a knee-jerk reaction when she first sees Mia there at the farm. And at first you're like, she's mad because of their friendship falling out. No, she's mad because Mia's there, period.
Yeah.
She should have been off doing something else. And the fact that she's still there actually makes Dani kind of angry and disappointed in her.
Well, and it says a lot about Dani in this, about how she genuinely feels about magic. That it is this trap that she's stuck in.
Yeah.
That it's not something to be appreciated. That it's something, in fact, that holds you. And Mia could have escaped, and she didn't. And Dani is super upset by that.
Yeah.
And clearly Dani has some stuff to get over.
Yeah. We get a little bit of background as well regarding Dani's power, that she discovered it by accident when they were just like drawing one day, when she and Mia and Elliot were drawing. They had jokingly suggested that they make some masterpieces so that the adults didn't have to go around stealing quite so many of them.
Rabbit had put down an art book showing Van Gogh.
And so they all like took turns drawing, and both of the adults in the room were like, you just made a reproduction Van Gogh.
You just made a perfect reproduction of a Van Gogh. What?
Yeah. And so that obviously turned into a thing, and that began Dani's criminal career when she was a kid, which is kind of...
It's not great.
Awkward. Yeah.
It's not great. It makes me feel a little weird about it. But at the same time, that is the world that our author is building. And that is what happened.
Indeed.
I loved the conversation between Dani and Mia, because I have had, not exactly this conversation, obviously, but something similar, where the subtext under absolutely everything they were saying was, I loved you, but I'm angry at you, but I know you too well to hate you.
Yeah, but I miss you.
And I miss you, but I'm still mad at you.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of communication happening without a lot of words.
Yeah, because they're so close that they just kind of have a shorthand.
Yeah, like neither of them had to say very much to get everything across. Mia's like, I'd invite you in, but you know I can't. And Danny's like, no, of course you can't.
Yeah.
They don't give us the reason. We don't need the reason. We kind of know already.
Yeah, Rabbit's not there. And Mia's like, you shouldn't be here when my mom gets back. Like, you should leave now.
That would be the I love you too much to hate you
Yeah.
part.
But Dani needs Rabbit. Like, she's aware that she can't make this happen without her.
Well, Dani has no other crew. She has nowhere else.
And she doesn't know anybody
to
else.
go.
Exactly.
Yeah. She has no other crew to choose from.
Certainly not locally. And so, like, she's hopeful that she can bring Rabbit around, but she's aware that she's going to have to take her lumps. So she's braced for that.
Yeah.
And so when Rabbit does pull up with Elliot, and number one, it's an immediate gut punch to see Elliot for Dani, and that puts her on the back foot. Rabbit wastes no time in just, like, walking over and slapping her in the face.
Oh, just right across the face.
Yep. And
Open and loud.
And then telling her, I don't care what you have to say, get out. Get off my property now. And Dani just kind of like, okay, and leaves.
That is the rage of deep betrayal.
Yeah.
And the fact, I don't know this for sure, I think the fact that Dani was left alive to leave probably shows that Rabbit, like, also did love her once. Because that is a deep rage.
Dani actually even acknowledges the irony of saying that there's no one that she can trust other than this crew because she betrayed this crew.
Yeah, right?
Like, deeply. And you were asking me after the fact, what could Dani do to bring Rabbit around? Because, like, the wall seems too high right off the bat. And my only answer is freedom for Maria.
That might be it.
Like,
I don't know.
My feeling is that Rabbit's going to come around because Dani pulling off this job is an opportunity to wipe the slate clean.
Maybe.
And get Maria out of jail. That might be, like, if Rabbit and Maria were that close, that might be enough to make Rabbit grudgingly come around and help.
I know. Because we're not going into this story completely blind, right? We've read the blurb on the back.
Well, and this is basically also what Archer is offering, right?
Yeah, more or less.
He's offering Dani a way back to the way things used to be, and that would include her mother.
I know. So the fact that this chapter ends with Dani having been rejected from these people and leaving Rabbit's place, it means that Dani has to come up with something, some offer, some, I don't want to say bait because that's not the right word.
Bait for Rabbit?
Maybe, right? It sounds awful. She has to come back with something.
Yeah.
Right? She has to get these people on her side. They are the characters we know are coming.
But she doesn't know that at the moment because her immediate thought while leaving is, I'm going to have to try to figure out a way to do this on my own. And my feeling is that she's going to spend the next day or two realizing there's literally no way for her to do it on her own. And then she is going to have to go crawling back.
But I wonder what she comes back with. Like, you're right. It might just be Maria's freedom. It might be something else. I don't know what.
And we don't know that Dani necessarily has to be the one to make that happen either. Like, remember, Archer's in the wings and he has this ability for persuasion, whether magic or not. So maybe she leans on him to try to get them back on board.
Maybe? Who knows?
He wants this painting so bad. I need these people. You need to make this happen.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a couple avenues there.
Something I did note, I don't know exactly what Dani did, right? We know there was betrayal, but we don't have details. So we don't know exactly what Dani did. We don't know exactly what the consequences were, and we don't know exactly what all of the fallout was either.
We can surmise based on what we know a little bit.
Like I said, we have a rough general idea, but we have no specifics.
Based on the blurb on the back, we know that she snitched the crew out to the FBI.
Yes.
So she's a rat. That resulted in her mom going to prison. And it's very possible that based on the fact no one else is in prison, that Maria took the fall for everyone. She was the one who was like, it's all on me, and everyone else managed to get off.
I mean, it's perfectly possible. But whatever it was that Dani did, we do know that the crew has not completely disbanded. No, we do know that because 3 of them are still together.
Well, I mean, in fairness, it's Rabbit and her daughter and her ward.
Still, it makes sense for Rabbit and Mia to be together, but they're not necessarily in hiding.
No.
And Elliot stuck around.
Obviously.
Right? So they're not, again, the crew is not totally disbanded.
at least that small segment of the crew is not totally disbanded.
That's what I mean, though. Like, they're not all deep underground, impossible to find.
Yeah.
I think that feeds into exactly what happened, and I am curious to find out.
Well, and also there's another question of what was Dani's motivation for the betrayal?
That's another thing. I think I touched on this earlier as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what has changed between when Dani snitched on everybody and now, because she clearly regrets what she did.
Yeah. Regrets it enough that she's willing to cut a deal with the devil to make it all go away.
Yeah, exactly. She's trying to fix it now.
Yeah.
She is willing to face these people who hate her to try and fix it. So that question is still there in my head and poking in on everything I read.
One other little bit of deep lore that we also discover is Sunflower.
Oh, yeah.
Was named for the sunflowers that Dani first drew.
Yeah, the famous Van Gogh sunflowers.
Yeah, when her power first fledged. So just remembered that. Thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah. Aww.
So yeah, with that last little tidbit of lore, I think we covered off everything pretty effectively for this chapter. It's surprising amount to discuss for, 6 pages?
Yeah, well, because suddenly we've met 3 new characters, and in these 6 pages, we got a fair bit on several of them. So,
as I suggested we might, for 3 characters who, just last chapter, you were like, I don't care about these people, I don't know these people.
Well, now I know these people.
There you
now
go.
I can care about them.
There you go. Well, maybe we'll care a little bit more about them as we move into the next chapter, chapter 5, which you'll want to read up on in time for next week. In the meantime, as always, you can give us a little rating and review on your podcatcher of choice, because that helps us out.
Yes, please.
You can also reach out to us via social media.
Oh, yeah. Pick your poison. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Skies, and Goodreads. We are at the Read Along for most of them.
Yes, you can also send us an email.
Oh, please do. You can reach us at thereadalong@gmail.com.
And with that said, as always, we love you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Willing to bet even Dani thought she had that slap gun.
Thank you for joining us on The Read Along with your hosts, Anita and Scott Bourgeois. All Read Along music is by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Cover art is by Aaron Beaver. Be sure to join us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The Read Along, and check out our group on Goodreads.com.